Hey, ladies and gents, welcome back. This is going to be a new wit. What am I trying to say? I do not know. This is going to be a new what if. So, this is going to be part 1 to what if Naruto was the Demon Lord. So, with that being said, make sure to like and subscribe. This video is not going to have a like goal. If it does relatively well, I'll make another part. That's basically how this is going to work. So, make sure to check out my Discord. I'll leave a link to that in the description below. And let's get started. So, before we actually get into the what if, we're going to do a brief, or not a brief thing, but we're going to do a brief, thing. What am I trying to say brief for? We're going to actually do a little, why do I like saying brief or little or something like that so much? I don't get it. Why can't I just say, I'm trying to say that I am going to do a kind of basically a the Naruto universe is going to change a hell of a lot. I'm going to be introducing demons and demon lords and all kinds of different shit like that. So basically, this is going to be kind of you need to do a recap, or not a recap, but as much of you just need to say what exactly is happening in the past at this point, or not too much in the past, but basically speaking, there's a demon lord, and it is kind of like the king of literally everything. There's two of them basically in different parts of the world at this point. And they both offer demands at random points. Otherwise, they have their literal armies of lesser demons and, different things like that, attacking all the villages. The different missions at this point in the Naruto universe would be very different from what they would be in the original, simply because most of the missions would be based around defending against demons or fighting demons or doing basically different things like that, or getting people back from being abducted by demons, everything like that. That's how basically stuff would go. The missions would be very different, and the people would have different abilities as well, because they would see demon and they would need anti-demon magic, random shit like that. Not something like Asta has, where he has literal fucking anti-magic, but basically speaking, they would have different types of jutsus and everything like that were specifically built to clash against demons and everything like that. So with that being said, let's actually start the what if. This what if is going to start with Hayashi going to the different village elders, and he's telling them he needs to not basically, sorry, I'm really bad at talking right now. I literally wrote most of this down, and I'm still having trouble saying it. I don't really know why I'm having trouble saying it. I just am. So basically speaking, yeah, whatever. So basically, Hayashi would go to the village elders, who basically requested to see him there because the good old-fashioned, yeah, I'm saying it again, the good old-fashioned demon lord basically told them that they need an offering, and they wanted a wife from the highest of, or not the highest, but he wanted a wife from one of the high villages in the Hidden Leaf Village. This would either include the Uchiha clan or the Hyuga. Not wanting to relieve any of, because the Hyuga are, or the Hyuga, generally speaking, are a little bit weaker than Uchiha, they would basically be well, we're gonna choose a Hyuga clan member to basically send off to the Demon Lord. This for really any reasons, because they don't really know what the Demon Lord wants to do. They don't know if he wants a wife, if he just wants to kill them. He doesn't know exactly what's happening right at this point. They just know that he wants an offering. So he basically tells them about this, and he's like, you need to offer up one of your daughters to the Demon Lord. Hiyashi would look at him and be like, okay, I'll do what I have to do. However, I'm going to spend the night with my family. And all of the village elders would obviously agree to this because, that's kind of really harsh thing to ask of somebody to just sacrifice their daughters to the fucking demon lord. So he'd allow this, with Hayashi spending one of his final nights with Hinata. At least that's what he thinks. So basically speaking, they all would have to board a boat at this point. They're boarding the boat, and they're going off towards the island of which the demon lord lives. However, Naruto heard of what was happening, and he jumped on the back of the boat, and he swam towards the boat before latching onto it. He grabbed it, and he's now just hiding atop the boat, trying to stay away from everybody on board. Because Naruto wants to see exactly what's happening here, because he heard that the only person who's really ever given him any amount of care at this point, because Hinata still had her moment where she had the scarf and everything like that. However, so Naruto would I don't know what I'm trying to say. So Naruto basically would be like, okay, well, I need to try to protect her, at least to a certain degree. So basically, Naruto would be on board the boat, when it eventually would reach the island of the Demon Lord, and they'd all get off the boat and start heading off in that direction. Naruto getting off last and staying aboard or on top of the island where the Demon Lord lives. So, after a few hours would pass, Naruto would have been listening to the conversations that were had, and find out that if Hinata was not good enough in her duties, that I don't really want to be specific about what I'm trying to say here because Hinata's still really young and the Demon Lord's not that nice, but you know what I mean, kind of, maybe, I don't know. I'm not getting into any more detail with it. So, anyway, the duties that they would have would absolutely completely piss Naruto off to an almost, like, absurd degree. So with that happening, Naruto would be absolutely livid, except he wouldn't be able to do anything yet. Now, hours would pass, and everybody would actually leave from the island. This excludes Naruto and Hinata. So, with only them two remaining, Naruto would try finding an opening. Try finding an opening to, one, kill the Demon Lord, or take Hinata away from him. Everybody was in bed at this point, and Naruto would still be awake. He's been awake for about 40 hours at this point, and he's getting really tired. Naruto falls over, completely asleep and not really able to do anything. When he wakes up, he hears some strange noises, and he wakes up, and he looks around, and he's trying to take in his surroundings. And then he looks down, and he sees a blacksmith working on a weapon down at the, basically, yard. Naruto walks into the castle, taking in its surroundings for one of the first times, because again, Naruto had been awake for a really long time by the time he had gotten to the castle, trying to stay awake aboard the boat, as to not get caught. Yet, when he's in the Demon Lord's castle, he can go to sleep as much as he wants. So basically speaking, Naruto would be, like, looking around the castle, looking around at all the different furniture and different things like that. That strange noise that Naruto heard was the blacksmith hammering on, like, his different things like that. So basically speaking, Naruto would be looking around, and he'd be taking in all of his surroundings before finding a room. He'd walk into the room, and he'd find the two people laying there, this being Hinata and the Demon Lord. They had not done anything the previous night, obviously. We're not getting that. Like, Hinata's pretty fucking young at this point, and I don't want to, like, do that. And they're laying together, with Hinata being as far on the opposite side of the bed as possible, while the Demon Lord just kind of laid sprawled out in the middle. So Hinata would wake up, and she looks around, and basically just waking up for the first time in a while, and she looks up, and she sees Naruto standing there in the doorway, and she's like, the kid from before, Naruto. Then it hits her. He's here on this island. She's here on this island. The Demon Lord. What is Naruto doing here? Why is this a thing? And Naruto would walk forward now, and he basically signaled to the Demon Lord, and he'd get up. The Demon Lord would get up at this point, and he'd look at Naruto. Then he realizes it. The Demon Lords need different hosts in order to actually be able to survive, and now that this person came to his island with his absolutely absurd amount of chakra and the thing that was inside of him, the Demon Lord realizes it. He's an absolutely perfect host. He is literally perfect, and he walks forward towards Naruto now, and he places his hand on Naruto's stomach, where his seal would be, and he twists it, releasing the Nine Tails, at least to a certain degree. Naruto starts screaming, and he starts falling to the ground onto his knees as red chakra erupts around him. That happening, Naruto would once again stand up, trying to recede the chakra back into himself with basically no, it wouldn't work. Naruto would still, the chakra would be slowly releasing more and more, and Naruto's basically would start becoming more and more overcome with hatred before completely losing control. So now, the Demon Lord looks at Naruto, and he's like, perfect. And he once again tightens the seal. Naruto is unconscious at this point, and the Demon Lord would seal himself inside of Naruto. He merges his chakra with the Nine Tails, making himself, the Nine Tails, and Naruto all stronger, all at the same time. Naruto would stand up now. He'd open his eyes. He'd reveal them to be slits now, and he looks around at his surroundings. Hinata would be looking at Naruto at this point, and Hinata saw everything that happened. How the Demon Lord just vanished and seemed to, like, almost whirlpool into Naruto's body. As Naruto wakes up, he looks around, obviously, and his eyes have slits in them, like I just said. But Naruto's personality is different. It's a merging of Naruto's, the Nine-Tails Fox's, and the Demon Lord's personality. They all combine to make this version of Naruto. Naruto would look at Hinata at this point, and Naruto at this point would still be young, but when he's looking at Hinata, he doesn't feel the same emotions that he would normally. In the normal, he would feel like, oh, a friend, but in this, he looks at Hinata, and all of his personalities combining, and basically all this hatred coming out of him from the Nine Tails, the lust coming out of him from the Demon Lord, and Naruto's friendly nature would all merge together. And Naruto would look at Hinata at this point, and the feelings he would feel would be something he's never felt before. Imagine all of those different feelings, but you felt them all at the exact same time to such a stupendous amount. Like, that would be a really odd feeling. So Naruto would be concerned about what's happening, and he'd stand up. He'd put his hand to his forehead, and he'd feel that he's warmer? Question mark? And he's really confused by this, and Naruto then falls over, unconscious. However, that's where I'm going to leave this part off. So I'll see you guys in the next part. Peace out. Bye.